Hey again, everyone, and welcome back to the channel for another installment in our ongoing New Figure Showcase series, where we take a look at a recent addition into the collection. So for today's episode, we're going back to Marvel, right? Marvel is my primary collection or collecting line, and we're going to be taking a look at an interesting one here that kind of came out of nowhere, but I was very excited to get my hands on, and that is Hot Toys' Doctor Doom, based on, I guess, a comic version, right? So it's not the first time we've seen Hot Toys dabble in the comic line. In fact, from Marvel, we also got the Iron Patriot recently, which I love that figure, right? And it was a great way of getting that Norman Osborn in the collection as well. And one of the things I do like, and I think it definitely holds true with this figure, is that Marvel, instead of giving us a very animated kind of look or a very comic illustration kind of look, went a little bit more realistic. Now they've done the animated look with some of the Iron Man comic book versions, right? But this one is a figure that, when you look at it, can definitely fit in well with your MCU collection. And I think that was a big positive that Hot Toys did, because even for someone like myself who loves Marvel, there's certain things I won't get. Like, for example, I've stayed away from a lot of the Marvel animated lines just because I don't think they'll fit in well with the MCU proper, given the different style of figures. And I've stayed away from those early Iron Man comic book figures for the exact same reason. They just don't look like they would fit in. But with the Iron Patriot, for example, and this Doctor Doom and the upcoming Agent Venom, right, Hot Toys decided to lean heavily into doing something a lot more realistic. And to me, you can put those right in next to any of your MCU figures and they will look like they belong. So look, Doctor Doom, without a doubt, we all know that from an MCU perspective, Robert Downey Jr. is going to be portraying the character. So we will be getting another Doctor Doom from Avengers Doomsday, without a doubt, right? So this is not that, right? But it's a figure that maybe was a long time coming. Doctor Doom for Marvel being one of the pivotal villainous characters, right? Especially with the production of the Fantastic Four, he's been such an iconic Fantastic Four villain, but he really escalated, right? And obviously he's going to play a pivotal role in Secret Wars as well. So look, all that said, let's take a look at what we're getting here from Hot Toys, right? You can go on and on about this character because he is iconic to Marvel fans. But you're getting a lot of interesting display pieces, including a great diorama base, although it does have an issue that we'll get into. But look, let's jump into the accessories in more detail, and we're going to start with the hands. Not much here, surprisingly. You only get 3 hands. 2 of them are pre-posed to kind of have this dynamic look. Plus, they're also designed to essentially hold the magical effects. And then you do get this other pre-posed hand again, which is designed to hold his pistol. So nicely done with the armored gloved look, and you can even see the hints of chainmail underneath between the joints. So really, really nice attention to detail. You do get these 2 other hands, which are the magical effect hands. Again, going into how Hot Toys did the right thing here by evoking Marvel or the MCU, right? These are magical glyph hands, and the element around the hand itself is this translucent red plastic, but the glyphs are very reminiscent of what we saw in all of the Doctor Strange movies. So it again looks just like it belongs, and it's a great way of basically having the effect without having to worry about struggling and placing those on the hands. As far as his pistol, he does get this gun, although with all the magical effects he has, does he really need this? But it's a great feature. It does look like an older World War II pistol, and again, given that he is supposed to be the leader of a European country, interesting take. But the detail work on this is great, from the paint apps to the detailing. Now, he does have a version of the Darkhold. It's the 3rd kind of iteration of this book that we've seen. We saw it in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., where it plays a pivotal role in the Ghost Rider story, the Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider storyline. And obviously we see the Darkhold take a critical role in Scarlet Witch's story, right, in Wanda's story. So this is another slight variation on that book, but it looks like it belongs. It looks like it could be taken from any of those properties, and again, kind of connects the 2 together. So great accessory. Now, as far as the magical effects, I'm not sure if the big kind of hand effects are reuse of some of Wanda's effects, but I definitely know the lightning. It's very much what we've seen with Palpatine, right, with the Emperor figure from Star Wars, just with this green hue. I love these effects, right? They're the translucent plastic with variable kind of color gradation around the surface, so you could see kind of get the feel of something really moving, and the whole dynamic element. So love them, great addition to have, and definitely add something to the figure. Now, diorama. I love these, right? This is not unique. I think the base itself is something we've seen before with other figures. Not sure which ones, not one I own. But the big selling point here is definitely this kind of standard bearer, the standard post that has the D letter on the top with two banners kind of coming down. The pole here that actually affixed to the base, it's actual metal, which is great, right? It's a very thin metal rod, gold plated, or with a gold kind of chrome plating. Really cool. The base itself, right, it has this gargoyle sitting at the front, which can be removed, and then of course you can rotate the base as well, to get the actual Doctor Doom nameplate revealed. Now, what's interesting here is because of the placement of that standard, this is really kind of the best way to display it, because if you try to rotate the base with the gargoyle facing forward, the standard is kind of in the way unless you rotate it out. So yeah, I would have liked the opportunity to have a second post for the standard, just for the alternate display, but it's just something to keep in mind. Now, jumping into the figure, look, it's a helmeted figure, so those tend to be pretty well done by Hot Toys, and this is no exception. So what we get here is we do get 3 different faceplates. So the base faceplate you're looking at is a much more modern look, where there's a lot of detailing to kind of recreate facial features, from furrowed brows to elements at the nose. There's a lot more complexity to it, and a lot more detailing with the rivets, where it's meant to emulate a human face even more. And I love the eyes underneath, right? They're done well. Typical Hot Toys, really amazing, and again gives the figure the sense of realism. And underneath you could see, basically, once you remove the faceplate, it's just a mask. All you really get are the eyes themselves. They don't look like anybody in particular, in case you were looking to see if they were trying to give us a backdoor into a Robert Downey Jr. sculpt. They look a little bit more standard than that, right? Faceplate 2, the eyes are a little bit more squared off. It's a little bit more, not plain, but a little bit more mechanical in the sense, right? Even the mouth plate is just an open slot as well. But again, right, subtle enough change. And I'm going to show the 3 plates together at one point so you can see the difference, but it just looks equally great. Now, the last one is probably the simplest plate, and this one evokes more like your early Doctor Doom from the comics, where it was just like almost just similar to what we would see with the early Iron Man, where instead of this complex faceplate, it was literally just a plate, right? So this one loses a lot of the detailing. It's a lot more just a piece of metal. Most of the detail is literally around the mouth plate, but it's nice. So you get the 3 options. Looking at them together, right, you can definitely see again how it goes from a more human-like face all the way to a much more mechanical face overall. So I think there's definitely an interesting transition there. For me, I think the more human-like effects definitely give the figure some character, but either plate would be amazing. Now, overall, this is a beautiful figure. It's a hefty figure too. The armor is all plastic, right? There's no die cast here, but it gives the figure some bulk and some weight. You do get the cloak, which you can remove his cape, but why would you want to, right? It's done with little pins. The hoods tend to be problematic for me sometimes, where you can't quite pose them the right way. But here, I think with a little work, it's fine. But the detailing on the armor is really, really well done. And the other thing I have to give you is, because this is, we just looked at some of the figures like Shin from Ahsoka, where the armor is definitely heavily weathered. Here, the armor is pristine. And I think that goes in line with the character of Doctor Doom, right? He's the leader of his country, of his nation state. He's meticulous, so I think it goes nicely where you could see kind of the armor. The underlaying bodysuit is actually, it's like a rubberized suit, but it does have the patterns to, again, create that kind of chainmail feel to him. So he's great in that sense, right? Um, it looks like you're wearing full armor, and the cloak, the detail on the tunic again, tailoring wise, Hot Toys killed it, right? The belt, the oversized belt, the boots. He looks like what you would expect a Doctor Doom to look like. So I don't really have any gripes. Posability wise, you just have to be careful. You have to move some of the armored elements around. And this is modern day Hot Toys, you do get some of them that are velcroed on. So if they do fall off, you can easily put them back on. But the figure has a large range of posable possibilities, right? From the gun to different magical effects to the red effects, right? Even if you just want him standing there in a stoic pose with the what is it, the oh my god, I forget the name of the magical book, but with the book, right, you can get him looking pretty impressive. It's funny, Hot Toys has been definitely killing it with figures that stand out. You know, we took a look at the Captain America with the beautiful wings, the Darth Vader battle damage with the plastic, you know, pre-molded cape that creates the illusion of the Vader mask, and now you got Doctor Doom. And while the diorama base itself is cool, the figure itself just has this presence. And it maybe doesn't come across in the video, but in hand, it's an impressive looking figure, and it holds its own with those greats. So I'm telling you, Hot Toys is on a roll right now. I don't. They like any company have some occasional missteps. This was not one of them. And I'm really happy to have this. And look, if you want a Doctor Doom now with the whole multiverse storyline, you could definitely still keep this in your collection. I'm sure there's going to be an RDJ version down the line from the new Avengers movie. But for now, and even then, this is a great figure if you're looking for it. So highly recommend it. Really great looking overall. Just my thoughts. Let me know what you think, and we'll touch base on the next video.